Apparently, there's different endings.
Is there?
Yeah.
Depending on what? Depending on who survives?
Wait,
Yeah.
how many endings? 15 endings?
Damn.
All right, there's a 48-minute video. Oh, there's a 12-minute video. We can watch that
Yeah,
one.
do that.
Someone said, what just happened, bro? He's freaking explaining the video he's lost.
Okay, here comes the fun part, where I try to explain Supermassive's most convoluted game ever. As usual, we're going to take this in chronological order, because that's the best way to keep things clear. That being said, since this is a game about time travel and alternate dimensions, it's more difficult than usual to structure events. So I'm going to focus on the actions of the game's central character, Augustine Liber. The game starts and ends with her standing around in a row. The game also prominently features 3 different timelines, so we'll be labeling them as dimensions A, B, and C.
I thought there was only
do
2.
a joke where I call them A, B, and
No, it's like a 1950s
but I'm trying
one.
to
Oh, the
Yeah.
beginning.
Long story short, Augustine Liber and Christine Gordon are the same person in different timelines.
What?
What the fuck?
What?
Even if we don't really
Wait.
How the fuck?
But
how the
how
fuck
did
did
you
you even
know
figure this
that?
out? Yeah, how did you even figure this out?
We don't have the slightest idea when Augustine Liber is from. Is she from the distant past and the first version of the horlogium was explicitly magical and less mechanical? Is she from the distant future and she's cobbled together whatever version of the horlogium she could with primitive technology? My own pet theory is that she was born Christine Gordon in the year 1963, grew up with no connection to Cedar Hills, which did not have a serial killer in that timeline, and then later when she discovered the entity and built the horlogium, she wound up weaving another version of herself into the Frank Stone store. But we don't have any information about her past.
So how do you
Whenever
come
she
to that
came
conclusion?
from, one thing we know for sure, she discovered the existence of the entity's realm and became obsessed with the idea of linking it to our world, freeing the entity from its interdimensional prison and sacrificing a world to it. What's a little unclear is her motive, a search for power or just an obsession with the dark secret at the heart of reality?
She
Can't
said
say for
knowledge.
yet, as we learn, again,
what knowledge?
very little
She
about
didn't learn shit. Knowledge would be going to different worlds, learning new things. She did the same thing in every single one. Grabbed the same movie in every single one.
No, I think that was her. That's how long,
Some
like,
for shifting
just now,
between
that was the first time that she was able to link it. So
Oh,
all
she's
the
never
time she
been-
kept going back, doing this, it was like getting her closer and closer and closer.
And she got K'd off.
This aided her in her research, both because she could access secrets lost to history and because she could use it to extend her life unnaturally, stealing the bodies of different versions of her grabbed from out of the multiverse. Over the centuries, she comes to believe that the entity is fascinated by, and pays close attention to, murderers. The more bloodthirsty and elaborate, the better. She decides to create a killer of her own, specifically designed to catch the entity's eyes.
So
and
she
to draw the
convinced
entity
Frank to
into the
dash
real
babies in the
world,
fire?
Which brings us to Frank Stone. It's unclear how she initially discovers him. After the death of his parents in a fire when he was a child, he was sent to live with his grandmother in Cedar Hills. We only
This is
see
good
one
handwriting.
piece of correspondence, but it's clear that she's quite deranged, filled with contempt for all the people who surround her. She taught Frank that he was special and more important than the rest of them. This abusive childhood turned him into a resentful, violent individual, putting no value on the lives of other people, which led to him being arrested and jailed for his crimes. It's in the prison that Augustine, now working as a psychiatrist,
Oh, so she was okay.
approached him in the guise of a rehabilitation program, taking this angry, directionless man and constructing a worldview that fit his existing mental issues. She suggested
Oh,
that
so
his
she pretended to be
propensity
his
for
doctor?
violence, rather than a character flaw, could be a heroic trait. She even went so far as to refer to Frank by his middle name Norman, which is what his grandmother called him. Convincing him of the necessity of violence, she taught him about the entity. He decides
She
to
groomed him
costume
into being a
himself,
killer,
attempting
huh?
to transform him into the creature that he's seen in his dream. There's a question of causality. Does the entity transform him into a hideous monster because it's the image that existed in Frank Stone's heart and dreams? Or was the entity, who exists outside of normal time, already aware of the form Frank would one day take and simply sent visions into Frank's dreams?
Bro, this is
felt
where
compelled to
time
make
and
a
stuff is
reality?
just so confusing.
He
bro.
began his murder spree at Augustine's instruction, killing Dorothy Clay and setting her house on fire, then murdering George
Jesus
Calhoun
Christ.
and his girlfriend
My
Joyce, again
goodness,
attempting
bro.
to conceal the crime and make it look like an act.
I thought he was just
Murders two more
dashing
people,
babies.
but
He wanted
it
his
seems
hands in every
unsure
single
of his
piece of
cause.
crime.
Anybody could get it.
His rather pedestrian obsession with traditionally Puritan concept of sin means that he got to enjoy murdering two people having sex in a car, but he isn't sure why stabbing an old woman while she slept was a moral act.
Why is dashing a baby in the
wait.
fire a moral act? Killing old ladies, like, bro. And when he was killing that baby, like, he was watching, he was letting us watch. Like, he was enjoying that, bro.
She
Like,
tells him that the source of evil in town is the Cedar Hills Steel Corporation because its founder Howard Tester was a witch. She convinces Frank that Howard's spawn will one day go on to do hideous acts, so he'll have to stop them before they can. She provides him with a list of Tester's evil descendants. Now, we don't know if these are actually his illegitimate or even legitimate children.
so
something
she straight
made
up is giving him a
but
hit
this is what
list.
Frank Stone believes is happening. The names are DP, BK, LR, and J. The DP is Dwight Allen Parker, who he kidnaps and keeps under the mill, while we can't say for sure who the LR is. JR, or as he's better known, Jaime Rivera, the baby that Frank kidnapped.
Oh my
Wait, that's
god.
Wait, what?
Jaime was the
baby that he
baby.
saved at the very beginning.
And this man did not know anything about it.
But hold on, how the fuck he know that?
You know what?
Just take this nigga's word for it? The man's just making
But,
shit
like,
up.
he's
You
like,
don't know
no,
that.
but he's looking at all this like papers and stuff. He read that shit. We didn't read that shit.
Oh, wait, no, you're right.
What's crazy is when like in the first episode, right? They was talking about like, oh, like when they first found out about like Frank Stone being in that mill. He was like, oh yeah, we don't know nothing about it because we were just babies. He was like, oh, like those victims, it could have been any of us. It could have been us. It was him, fam. Chris was there like, yo, we're not even exploiting the victims. She didn't even know her boyfriend was a victim, fam.
This is timeline A, which the rest of the timelines relevant to Augustine's plan mostly branch off of. I say mostly because while Sam A's eye and shoulder injuries are reflected in timelines B and C, it seems that Jaime's death as a child is a somewhat rarer occurrence.
Wait, he could
Whatever
die?
happens to Jaime in the A timeline.
Oh my
a
God.
interview with Tom confirms that in the B timeline, where
Wait, but if he
Murder
dies,
Mill
then-
is produced in the game, Sam saved the child. If Jaime is saved, then this conversation between Linda C and Sam A is about Sam not breaking the camera.
What conversation
in
is
timeline
that?
C.
Wait,
Linda was
what
never
if-
just
why
like
are they
that.
dressed like this?
Sam was never just like that.
Look at Linda. She looks
Linda
like
was
a
never just like that.
like French detective or something.
The important part is that Augustine's plan mostly works. The entity appears to collect Frank's stone, but she simply takes the body and leaves, without generating the stable connection between the entity's realm and Earth. She realizes that while Frank's body has been taken to the entity's realm, his soul, or at least some pieces of it, are still inside the mill, trapped within the place he died and the bodies of his victims. So she comes up with a plan to capture enough pieces of his soul that she can summon him back, creating the bridge she's planned for so long. That plan is the movie Murder Mill. She arranges for a version of herself, Christine Gordon, to move to Cedar Hills and start making the film. Then she provides the filmmakers with a magic camera that can capture ghosts, and the main action of the game begins. The game follows the adventures of the Murder Mill crew in Timeline B, where Jaime is alive and Bonnie dies no matter what else happens.
Okay,
They're
so
far from unique,
she couldn't be
however.
saved.
As we can see in Augustine's film vault, she's collected thousands
If
of
Bonnie
versions
dies
of the
every
film.
time, then how was
At least
Maddie
one of them is
exist?
from a world where
Yeah.
the team never found out about Frank Stone and instead made a movie about Evan McMahon.
Yeah, because I think he said something earlier about like Augustine using Bonnie blood to stay alive or something.
The goal is to find little pieces of Frank's
I don't
soul
know.
from all across the multiverse. Each crew might have gotten a fraction of the power she needs. So this had to be done at a large scale. Augustine couldn't just go around and film
So Maddie's
the
like a
mill
miracle,
herself,
bro.
because
Like a miracle baby.
Frank would probably kill her, and two, it would be a huge amount of work. By placing Christine in Cedar Hills and selling her the camera, she creates a functionally unlimited number of variant versions of the Murder Mill footage that she can harvest at her leisure. Now, we don't get a lot of information about what happens to the crew of Murder Mill after the film is complete, since we only see the Timeline C version of these characters. Bonnie gets married and has a daughter named Madison. Robert is haunted by his experience.
But she's dead. Wait, who turned to drugs?
No,
Who
that
turned
was
to
a
drugs?
different. What happened?
Who turned to drugs?
I don't know.
Robert is
Feeling
haunted by his
fucked.
experiences and turns to drugs.
If that's Robert, so was that not Sam? That was Robert?
Robert is haunted by his experiences and turns to drugs.
Who the fuck is Robert?
Robert was Sam's son. Because remember we were saying how he was not old enough. So maybe it wasn't Sam. Maybe it was just Robert.
Oh,
they do kinda look alike.
Then he was lying about who he was then.
As for Jaime and Christine,
But they didn't even like let us know that at the end.
there's no information about what happened to them. All we know is that Madison has never met her uncle, and he's probably dead. Her saying, "I never met him," versus "I've never met him," suggests that meeting him is something that is no longer on the table.
What?
Post-
Yo, run that
Sam
shit back,
Wait,
bro.
what?
Yo, the man's dissecting the punctuation.
Wait,
my
no,
nigga.
no. Turns out Sam is in this game.
Who
I
the
thought it
fuck
was
is
Robert.
Sam?
That
Oh,
was
the guy,
cop.
the guy.
Yeah, fam. But
Bro,
yeah,
nah, the man threw me off, fam.
I've
Relax right now.
never
I said
caught
I
that.
and I.
never
And
caught
he's
that,
figuring
bro.
shit out.
If I said
Never met
I've
him.
never met him, it means that other people could have met him, but I never did. If I said I never met him,
It
no
means
one-
the same fucking thing, my
yeah,
nigga.
yeah, what the heck? And like, yo, she's a kid too. She doesn't know grammar like that. I
Hey,
feel like
bro.
that one's a reach. That one's a reach.
Is Sam A, who became obsessed with what happened at the mill and managed to find out about the nature of the entity, and even joined an organization of people actively trying to stop the pro-entity organization, the Black Veil. It's via his connection to this group that he finds out about Augustine's plan. She's had a version of herself collecting all of the pieces of the film from every universe she can, promising her that if she can complete the film, the entity will reward her with some kind of power. This is a lie, of course, told by the original Augustine.
Wait, so there's a next
Wait,
Augustine?
Augustine
That's
lied to
finessing
Augustine.
the next Augustine?
That's
What?
crazy.
So
bro.
who's the original
I think it's the store owner.
store owner?
Has to be.
Maybe.
But where is
She's
she
the
right
oldest
now
one.
in all of this though?
I don't know.
How is she benefiting?
But why is she finessing Augustine?
With the film assembled, Augustine is ready to complete the ritual and summon Frank Stone. Like all of the entity's rituals, this
Yo, is your video frozen?
So
Nah, that's a
Augustine
picture.
invites her own
Oh,
world
okay.
versions
Oh,
of
it's a
Madison,
picture.
Linda,
Okay.
and Stan, a scumbag who scammed Robert out of his piece of the film in at least some of the timelines. The plan is to have one of them be consumed by Frank Stone, anchoring the film version of Frank in the real world by merging him with someone from World C. With Frank Stone's soul back in the body that was created by the entity, and part of that body made of someone from World C,
I'm kind of pissed off
the
Maddie
bridge
died
is
though.
finally created, and the entity absorbs Timeline C's Earth. The world has now become
Oh
part
my
of
God.
it. But whether they are or not, Frank Stone will always kill Augustine C, completing the job that the real Augustine was using her for. Those aren't the end of Augustine's plans, however. Even as the game ends, we've never actually learned exactly what she hoped to accomplish by bringing the entity into World C. The fact that in the post-credits scene, we see her back at the Horologium,
Oh,
a
we
new
didn't
version
even
of
see
herself, suggests that she has another scheme in mind. Does she hope to actually gain the kind of power that Augustine C thought she was in line for? Does she have a scheme to take control of the entity's power herself? We're going to have to wait for the sequel, or at least the Frank Stone chapter.
Man.
Year 9? What does that mean? It's a 9-year progress? What the hell does that mean?
There's still lots of questions, of course. Where did the magic camera come from? Why do the locket and mirror
I thought
kill
it was
people
just
who
a
try to
camera.
travel through the film? Was this the
Wait.
fur come from? Why do the locket and mirror kill people who try to travel through the film?
Try to travel through the film.
Maddie had a locket. Is that why she died?
But we didn't travel through no fucking, I don't know.
Travel through the film.
Fuck does that
I
mean?
don't know.
Was this the first entity trial? How did Augustine summon a murder of crows and use it to trash the curio shop and kill the owner's cat, forcing him to sell the place? Okay, so maybe that last one isn't an important question, but it's still super weird that she did that.
I'm like
Yo,
more
what you
confused
saying?
now.
Yeah, we just finished
I don't know,
Frank
fam.
Stone. We watched a video to explain it. We don't know what the fuck is going on, so we'll be
Bro,
on. We'll be on soon.
Bro, oh my god. Bro, this shit was so confusing,
Yeah, that shit makes
yo.
no sense,
I
bro.
don't-
So we'll be on soon. All right.
Is there anything else in the story that's still confusing you? I'm sure we
The
can
fucking whole
cover it.
story. Shout out
Literally.
to Hidden
Yo.
Object Guru for trying to explain this in 12 minutes.
The only thing that makes sense is part 8.
Let me see the comments.
I pray we get some type of follow-up. This was so good. Bro, are you not confused? This Multiverse of Madness has a ton of DVD gameplay. Is no one going to explain when Chris was so obsessed
Oh,
with the killer
so
stuff?
it's just us. We're just stupid.
I think we're just dumbasses. Maybe
We're just dumb. We're just
maybe
slow,
maybe the
fam.
beginning of the game was not all just intro. Maybe they were just dropping bare lore and we just missed all of it.
Man, fuck the comments, my nigga.
So like what? Like,
We're just dunce.
how do we kill him?
You can. We're just
We're just dumb
dunce.
as hell, bro. We didn't get it. Everyone in the comments seems to get it, bro. We're just stupid.